Hi everyone, to get started today, me and Isabella are going to act out a little scenario for you. In this instance, Isabella is a man,
Oh, I'm a man.
and I am me. Okay, let's begin. I just found out recently that I am a Gemini. How cool!
Gemini, you believe in those star signs? The stars don't decide when you're born, Maggie Howe. I can't believe you believe in that. You're stupid.
And scene. We're talking about zodiacs today. If you couldn't tell by Isabella's wonderful acting skills.
Oh,
Again,
that
she's
was
showing
so
that
great.
she was a drama kid. So, well, we wouldn't be really qualified to talk about astrology if we did not Google our birth charts before this. So we're gonna read you out the short description accordingly. As well, I should go first.
Yeah, a lot of women believe in astrology compared to men, so that's kind of the premise of today's episode, and we're going to start out with us talking about our signs. So I am a Pisces. On this website, it says Pisces are compassionate and sentimental. They like isolated occupations, and they're very self sacrificial. My potential issues are a tendency to be led astray, a lack of experience, or an inability to apply experience practically. Lethargy, which I don't know what that means, oversensitivity, and emotionalism.
So I don't know where she's reading that from because this website has a lot of words. But the short description for my sign, which is a Gemini, is that I'm an opportunist and I can express myself easily. And I am welcoming and gentle. But apparently, I waste energy by taking on too many things and do not persist in achieving my set goals, which I feel like is a little rude. But before we did Google these signs, we did not know anything about astrology, so we might not be the most qualified in telling you what our signs mean, but we are qualified enough to tell you about our experiences and men really hating astrology. So that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah, I think this is nice. I think astrology, even though there's no scientific proof that it's true, it's a fun little thing that people like to do to help kind of reflect on ourselves and find truth in ourselves through these traits that we're given. I think that's kind of the point to most people, at least.
Yeah, for sure. Because I'm not saying like you have to believe in zodiac signs. You have to read your horoscope every day. No, I don't care. I personally don't even I don't follow my life by whatever my horoscope says from the magazine and Save on Foods, right? But this is fun to look at. I like opening the newspaper and seeing Gemini. Your week is going to be good. You know, I feel good about that. And I like seeing the little Instagram post saying Gemini, you're cool. So the whole point of this episode really is we don't understand why there's a lot of hate towards it when it's not really negatively affecting anyone, and it's really just a cool, silly thing that a lot of girls do like.
Yeah, we found that a lot of women like it compared to the amount of men that like it. Almost twice the amount of women believe in astrology compared to men.
I think it was
And we were wondering
37.
why is that?
For sure. So we did a lot of digging, and it turns out it isn't just us who were experiencing that. A lot of guys do not like astrology. There's actually a lot of proof on this. If you just Google astrology, why there's a lot of discussions on men's chat rooms, and they're like, oh, why do girls like astrology? Blah, blah. And which is a little strange because if you look at the history of astrology, men were the leading educators and people who are studying astrology and people who are trying to prove astrology and people working in that field. I did Google names: Galileo, Nostradamus, and Claudius Ptolemy. These were
Yeah,
men.
because zodiacs, other than the cool animals and the character traits, they do come from the position of the stars, which was studied a long time ago.
A long time. Oh, was there more you were going to say about the long time?
No, that's okay. Yeah, but it really boomed, especially recently because of, I think, the amount of people that were talking about their traits, or Gemini does this, a Pisces does that,
Mm-hmm.
and those
And
people are women.
a lot of people, when I was researching the men asking why do women believe in zodiac signs, their main criticisms were when according to them, women would say things like, "Oh, you're not compatible with my zodiac sign, so we can't chill," or "Oh, I don't like you because you're blah 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 zodiac sign." And their criticism was that zodiac signs reduce people to like very specific personalities and like don't allow uniqueness, which like I can agree with. There's like very specific traits, but at the same time, I'm very sorry, but I do not believe somebody came up to you and said, "Oh, our zodiac signs aren't compatible, so we can't talk." Like, personally, I'm not saying that you're lying, but I am.
Well, I think there are people that are like that, and there are people who have very strong beliefs in astrology. Astrology was around before religion, and I think that already says something about how strong a person's beliefs can be. But of course, I don't think that's our whole point here. It's more about that astrology is something that mostly women believe, and that it's a space for women to express themselves. So I'm not saying that it's wrong to deny astrology. That's not wrong at all. What's wrong is denying it because women believe in it.
Because again, as we were saying, back when men were the prime dominators in this field, the astrologers, the people studying the stars, it was like it was popular. You know, men were listening to like Galileo, they were listening to his teachings, they were listening to his studies. It wasn't looked down upon to agree with this kind of teachings. But as soon as it started getting popular in the mainstream and pop culture, when a lot of women, when a lot of people of color started joining in on the discussion of astrology, that's when like the male population started to turn on astrology, which is very interesting.
I think that astrology allows a lot of expression for women. Like, women can look at their sign and go, hey, I am those things. I relate to that. And kind of allows for a little bit of emotional input there. And women are definitely more in touch with their emotion side
Oh,
for
for
the
sure.
majority of women
I
compared
love
to
that.
men. So I think
I
that's one of
have
the reasons that women are more into it.
I have self-reflected from zodiac sign Instagram memes alone than I ever had anywhere else. Like I'll see a post that's like Gemini's caring, and I'll be like, oh, am I caring? Have I done anything that's caring? Should I be more caring? You know, it allows for like reflection, which I think is like very cool and very silly. And I don't think that should be something that's looked down upon if it allows you to reflect on yourself and think more about yourself. Introspection is like a good thing.
Yeah, and I think there was a time where introspection, it wasn't really a big thing for women. Like, it was looked at as more of a thing that men should do. So I think that's part of the reason why there's been so much fight between men and women about it.
I saw online that this author Desiree Roby Antilla, who is a professional astrologer and wrote a book, Sun, Signs, and Love, talked about how historically witchy women actually really liked astrology because this was the first time they could have access to their own independence that was never defined by or connected to a man. And like you were saying, historically, men could introspect. Men could think about themselves and their own independence. But women, as Desiree puts it too, were always connected to a man. They were seen as in the relationship to a man. You were either a wife, you were a daughter, you were a sister. You were never your own person. But when astrology started becoming popular, they could say, hey, I'm not just a sister, I'm also this. I'm like caring, I'm kind, I'm like self-preserving. A lot of these things.
And something interesting I also found was that one of the things that your natal chart gives you is the amount of masculine and amount of feminine you are. Like for me, I am 7 feminine, 3 masculine. And a lot of people take that offensively, like, oh, I'm more feminine than masculine? That's horrible. But what I read was that people now in our modern world see it as like men and women, while back then when they first kind of discovered this natal chart way of seeing things, it was more about the energy that you
Mm-hmm.
have, different energies. So I think that's another change that happened that people might not like.
I've also seen like kind of going on what you said about the energy. A lot of like videos recently where people have been trying to like rewrite what masculine and feminine means. So I've seen videos saying like feminine is like your more like soft energy, it's more your caring, nurturing energy, and your masculine is more like leading energy and blah blah blah. Right? There's different like they're trying to like erase the idea of men are inherently masculine, women are inherently feminine, which I think kind of shows what you're saying, which is like in the past, gender again is a social construct, right? Back then when it didn't exist, the stars don't see gender, right? So it was definitely different back then, which I think is pretty tough. I am 4 feminine and 6 masculine, in case you're wondering.
And astrology isn't just made for cisgender people too, of course. Like,
Mm.
a lot of times now, I read that they leave like the masculine feminine energy thing out of their readings to be respectful towards that. But really, it wasn't meant to be like kind of a gender split. It was about traits, which, like you said, kind of helps differentiate the fact that men and women are different than masculine and feminine energy.
Hmm. And like finding out those things, I don't know what 4 feminine and 6 masculine means. I have no idea what that says about me, but I liked finding that out. And just by putting in my birthday on this website, I found out that I am 1 fire, 3 earth, 5 air, and 1 water. Do I know what that means? No. But now I just found out that I would be like an airbender in Avatar The Last Airbender, which I think is so sick. I don't know why people wouldn't want to put in their birthdays and find out what they would be in Avatar.
You could be the avatar.
I could be the Avatar, and watch out. It's me. I was trying something. I don't know if it worked.